Welcome, my friend. Let me start with a question that is bigger than English, bigger than motivation, bigger than success. Who is really controlling your life right now? Is it you? Or is it every person who pushes your buttons? Think about it. Someone insults you and you explode. Someone ignores you and you panic. Someone lies about you and you fight back instantly. At that moment, who is in control? You or them? This is not just a video. This is a mirror. And today, you may see something about yourself that you have never seen before. Because this is not about 5 tips for success or 10 minutes of motivation. This is about the hidden difference between a peaceful life and a painful one. We live in a world full of triggers. People want a reaction from you. They insult you, not always because they hate you, but because they want to control you. They spread lies, not because they believe them, but because they want to see if you will break. They play with silence, not to ignore you, but to test how much power they have over your mind. And most people fail the test. They react instantly, emotionally, loudly. They lose their peace. They lose their focus. They lose their power. The tragedy is this. Most people don't even realize they are destroying their own life with their own reactions. There was once a young man, let's call him Daniel. Daniel worked hard. He stayed late, followed every rule, always said yes when asked to help. He wanted to build a career, a reputation, a future. But one day, during a big meeting, his manager criticized him unfairly in front of everyone. The criticism wasn't true. It wasn't fair. And in that moment, Daniel snapped. He shouted, he argued, he defended himself. The room froze. The silence was heavy. Later, the manager walked away calmly. But Daniel was left with a new label. No longer hard-working, no longer intelligent. Now, everyone whispered, the emotional guy. One outburst, one reaction, and years of effort were overshadowed. That's the power of reaction. It can burn down what took you years to build. People often think reacting fast means they're strong. No one can disrespect me. I must defend myself immediately. But in truth, quick reaction does not equal power. It equals weakness. It equals manipulation. Because if someone can press a button and instantly change your mood, they are not only in your life, they are in your head. Reacting is not strength. Reacting is slavery. Slavery to your emotions, to your wounds, to other people's opinions. So what is the way out? Here's a secret that the strongest people know. The pause. The next time someone disrespects you, insults you, or provokes you, don't speak, don't move, don't react, just breathe. Inhale, exhale, 5 seconds. In those 5 seconds, you take back the one thing nobody should ever have, your control. Because something magical happens in that space. The fire begins to cool. The storm inside starts to calm. Your brain shifts from burning to thinking. You can still respond later, but now your words will be strong, not stupid. Your actions will be wise, not wild. This one pause is not weakness. It is the beginning of true power. ESL checkpoint. Let's pause here to build both your strength and your English. Here are 3 key words for you. Trigger, something that makes you react. Puppet, a doll controlled by strings. Pause, stop for a short time. Practice with me. When someone triggers me, I pause before I speak. If I react instantly, I become their puppet. Say it slowly. Repeat it twice. This is not just English practice. This is life practice. Let's be honest. How many moments in your life were destroyed because you reacted too fast. That one argument that ended a friendship, that one text message that broke a relationship, that one decision in anger that changed everything. These are not just small mistakes. They are chains. They keep you trapped in regret because words cannot be deleted. Actions cannot be erased. People do not forget. There was once a young woman who was in love. One night, she felt ignored. Her partner didn't answer her call. In anger, she sent a long message full of accusations and blame. Minutes later, the reply came. "Sorry. I was in the hospital with my mother." Her heart broke. Not because of what he did, but because of what she said. The words could not be unsent. The damage could not be undone. That's what reaction does. It creates wounds deeper than the original problem. Here is the cruel part. Most of the time, you are not reacting to the person in front of you. You are reacting to something old, a wound from childhood, a memory of rejection, a fear of being ignored. The person who triggered you today only touched the scar you never healed. That's why reactions feel so strong. They are not about now, they are about then. Do you see the pattern? Reacting quickly feels powerful, but it is actually weakness. Pausing feels weak, but it is actually power. This is the first step to becoming untouchable, the first step to becoming free. But knowing this is not enough. Because the real question is, what is the cost of continuing to live as a slave to your emotions? What do you lose, year after year, when you keep reacting instead of responding? That is what we must explore next, because until you understand the true price of reaction, you will never choose to change. In the first part, we discovered the trap. Reacting feels powerful, but steals your control. Pausing feels weak, but gives you power. But let's go deeper. Because the truth is, reaction doesn't just steal a moment. It can steal your peace, your relationships, even your future. This is the hidden cost of emotional slavery. Imagine this. Every time you react in anger, you are making a trade. You trade your peace for a few seconds of shouting. You trade your dignity for a few words you can't take back. You trade years of trust for 1 minute of rage. And when the storm is over, what remains? Not victory, not strength, only regret. Let me tell you a story of two sisters. They were close, like best friends. They grew up together, laughed together, shared secrets late at night. But one day during a family gathering, the younger sister made a sarcastic comment. She touched an old wound, something painful from childhood. The older sister exploded. She shouted. She accused. She said words that were not true, words full of buried pain. The family went silent. The younger sister left in tears. Days passed, weeks passed, but the relationship never returned. Years later, the older sister often looked at a photo of them together and cried, not because of what her sister said, but because of how she reacted. One moment, one outburst. A lifetime of regret. Think about your own life. How many arguments could have been avoided? How many relationships could have been saved? How many peaceful days were ruined just because you reacted too fast? The painful truth is this. You don't carry the insult they gave you. You carry the way you reacted. There was once a young man working as a waiter in a busy restaurant. One evening, a rich customer came in. He was rude, entitled, arrogant. When his food was delayed, he shouted across the room, "Are you deaf, stupid, or just lazy?" Everyone froze. They expected the waiter to shout back, to defend himself, to react. But the young man didn't. He looked at the customer calmly and said, "Sir, I'm doing my best. If that is not enough for you today, I understand. But I will still serve you with respect, because that's who I am." The room went silent. The customer, who thought he looked powerful, now looked small, and the waiter, who seemed powerless, now stood tall. That night, the manager offered him a promotion, not because he carried trays well, but because he carried himself well. Reaction is instinct. Response is wisdom. ESL Checkpoint Keywords, entitled Believing You Deserve Special Treatment, Dignity, Calm Self-Respect, Wisdom, Deep Understanding, and Good Judgment. Practice sentence: True wisdom is choosing dignity instead of reaction. Here's the deeper truth. You are not just reacting to the moment. You are reacting to your past. If you were ignored as a child, you overreact to silence. If you were humiliated once, you overreact to disrespect. If you were abandoned, you overreact to distance. The person in front of you is not your enemy. They are only pressing the buttons of your old wounds. Until you see this, you will keep giving your peace to battles that are not about today. So what is the way forward? It begins with one simple practice. Name it. Pause. Respond. The moment you feel anger rising, say silently in your mind, "This emotion is real, but this reaction is a choice." Yes, you feel hurt. Yes, it's unfair. Yes, you want to scream, but don't. Pause. Close your mouth. Still your body. Let the emotion rise, but don't let it explode. Wait 10 minutes or an hour or even a day, then respond with calm, with clarity, with power. If you keep reacting, you pay a high price. You lose trust in relationships. You lose focus in work. You lose peace in your mind. And most painfully, you lose yourself. Because every time you react, you hand over your identity to someone else. You become who they want you to be, angry, small, broken. But when you respond, you take yourself back. You prove to yourself, "I am more than my anger. I am more than my wounds. I am in control." Remember this, reacting might feel strong in the moment, but peace is stronger, and peace never creates regret. This is not about being passive. This is about being powerful in a different way. Not through noise, but through mastery. Not through shouting, but through silence. Not through ego, but through wisdom. So far, we have seen the trap of reaction, and now the heavy cost it demands. But the journey is not finished, because even if you know the danger of reaction, and even if you practice the pause, there is still one deeper battle left, the battle with your ego. Ego is the voice that says, "They can't talk to me like that. I must prove I'm right. I can't let them win." And unless you face this voice, you will keep reacting, not from truth, but from pride. That is why, in the next part, we will go beyond reaction and response. We will discover the secret weapons of calmness, silence, and letting go of ego. In the first part, we saw the trap. Reaction feels strong, but makes you weak. In the second part, we face the cost. Reaction steals peace, relationships, and even futures. Now we arrive at the deepest lesson, because even if you practice the pause, even if you learn to respond instead of react, there is still a hidden enemy inside you, the ego. Let's start here. Calmness is not something you are born with. Calmness is trained, like a warrior trains for battle. It is a discipline, a daily practice. The world is full of storms, arguments, rumors, insults, betrayal. Anyone can scream in the storm, anyone can panic, anyone can cry, but the one who stays calm is the one who wins. Why? Because calmness keeps your power. Calmness clears your vision. Calmness makes you a leader, even when you say nothing. There was once a crowded train. Suddenly, a drunk man entered. He was shouting, pushing, wild with anger. The passengers grew tense. Some shouted back. Some moved away. Some started recording. But one old man stayed still, calm, unshaken. The drunk man stormed up to him, fists ready. Everyone braced for violence. But the old man simply looked him in the eye and said, "Whatever happened to you today? I'm sorry it brought you this far." The man froze. His fists dropped. Tears filled his eyes. He sat down and cried. The whole train went silent. One calm man had changed the energy of the entire room. That is the power of calmness. The world loves noise. People argue online, post explanations, fight to be right, defend every opinion. But silence is misunderstood. People think silence is weakness, that if you stay quiet, you are scared. The truth is the opposite. It takes more strength to say nothing than to argue. It takes more dignity to walk away than to shout. It takes more wisdom to stay silent than to prove your point. A young man was once humiliated online by a former friend. Screenshots were twisted, stories were fabricated, his reputation was attacked. Everyone waited for him to fight back, to post his side, to go live, to explain. But he stayed silent. People called him weak, a coward, even guilty. But months later, the truth came out. The liar was exposed, and suddenly the man's silence was seen as dignity, wisdom, strength. Because while others screamed, he was winning, quietly. This is how you use silence as power. In conflict, say, "I understand," and walk away. In drama, step back and let the truth rise by itself. In disrespect, don't shout, don't cry. Look them in the eye and say nothing. Silence confuses those who want your reaction. It unsettles those who want your weakness. It makes them wonder if you are already ahead of them. That mystery is power. ESL checkpoint. Keywords: humiliate. Make someone feel ashamed. Dignity, calm, self-respect. Weapon: something used to defend or protect. Practice. Silence is not weakness. Silence is my weapon. One of the greatest mistakes in life is fighting every battle, trying to win every argument, trying to prove yourself to every critic. It sounds brave, but it is how you destroy your energy. You have limited energy each day, and if you give it to gossip, you have less for your goals. If you give it to hate, you have less for love. If you give it to lies, you have none left for truth. Some people want your reaction only because it feeds their ego. They don't want peace. They want drama. And if you keep entering their world, you will never build your own. Protect your energy like it is gold. Decide each morning, what deserves my energy today? If it's not on the list, walk away. Now let's face the hardest truth. Even if you master calmness and silence, ego can still trap you. Ego is the voice inside that says, "They can't talk to me like that. I must prove I am right. I can't let them win." Ego is not your power. Ego is your prison. Because the ego always wants more respect, more validation, more praise. And when the world doesn't give it, the ego panics. And when the ego panics, you react. There was a man who gave everything to his company. Years of loyalty, time, health, effort. One day he was replaced without warning. No thank you, no apology. His ego burned. How could they do this to me? Don't they know who I am? He wanted revenge. He wanted to prove himself. Before acting, he spoke to his grandmother, a woman who had survived wars, betrayals, and poverty, yet carried peace in her eyes. She said, "My child, you don't heal by proving others wrong. You heal by proving to yourself that their actions will not control your future." Those words freed him. He walked away with dignity. He built his own company quietly. Years later, he was more successful than the very people who betrayed him, because he let go of ego and held on to peace. ESL checkpoint: revenge, hurting someone back for what they did. Betrayal, deep hurt from broken trust. Heal, to recover, to become whole again. Practice: my soul heals when I let go of ego. Here is the final practice. Catch the voice of ego. When you feel the urge to prove, fight, or explain, pause. Ask yourself, is this my soul speaking or my ego screaming? Let people misunderstand you. Let them talk. You don't owe everyone an explanation. Stop fighting to be right. Ask instead, what is more important, being right or being at peace? Every time you choose peace over ego, you become lighter, freer, stronger. And now here's the truth. You don't need to react to everything. You don't need to fight every battle. You don't need to prove your worth to people who never saw it. You are more than your reactions. You are deeper than your wounds. You are calmer than your storms. From this moment forward, may you never lose your peace for anything or anyone. May your silence become your strength. May your calmness become your confidence. May your wisdom become your way of life. Whenever the world pulls you into chaos, pause, breathe. Remember who you are. You were not born for the noise. You were born for something greater: peace, purpose, and quiet power. Stay still. Stay true. Keep rising silently, because sometimes the loudest thing you can ever say is nothing at all. Thank you for listening. I am proud of you. And from my heart to yours, may God bless you with strength, peace, and a life no reaction can destroy. Take care of your mind, protect your soul, and never forget, you are not weak for staying calm. You are powerful beyond words. Until next time, stay strong, stay silent, stay free.